and welcome to Take 2 of Episode 3. This is the TurboStar Interstellar Network, also known as TIN. Let's try this again, shall we? Yesterday we did try to do the show, and my ISP company, aka Buckeye Cable Systems, had a bit of a fluke there. Unfortunately, the entire network was down for hours, almost about 4 a.m. when I had to go to work. So that was unfortunate, but we're going to try this again here. I am joined, as always, by Shriggs.
Hello.
Dundago.
Hey, guys.
Hello. And Tyremus.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, as they would say.
Good night.
Shriggs, stop acting like you're frozen. Yeah. And as always, the TIN Network is sponsored by Chewy Snacks, Rivalcast Media, and AltGG. Please check out their respective websites, rivalcastmedia.com, altgg.com, and chewysnacks.nothing, because it doesn't actually have a website. But Shriggs is working on a website, right, Shriggs? Exactly. So, all right. So this week's topics are going to be the PvP, like we said we were going to talk about last week, as well as the C.R.E.D or C.R.E.D system, however you want to pronounce that. We were going to talk about
C.R.E.D. It's definitely
C.R.E.D.
C.R.E.D. Like,
It's what
C.R.E.D.
dude.
C.R.E.D is a mistype in the notes.
Shh, quiet.
It's C.R.E.D.
Shut
It's
up.
C.R.E.D.
It's C.R.E.D. Yeah.
Okay, fine. If you want to get little, jeez. Oh
That's what you get for being the host, Baz.
Yeah, that's what I get for not being able to spell, apparently. So
It was 5 letters.
dude. You know what? 5 letters is difficult sometimes when you are dyslexic.
Hey, you know what?
All right.
They were in all caps.
No. Actually, in his respect, generally D's don't come after D's at the end of a word.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, this is just a weird word. I don't get it, guys. This word's hard.
But then again, he should know things about WildStar, so he should have done his homework.
Homework is for people who graduated college. Or didn't. I mean, Shriggs never does his homework, so that's okay. So, Shriggs, how late were you up working on your project?
Well, I didn't sleep.
Okay. So that would be...
Time has become a blur.
Well, that's what happens in college. That's definitely what happens. So, yes, and we are not giving away any keys this week. They're Lomurker? Sure. We'll call him Larry. And, yeah, so...
Lomurker.
Lomurker. So, guys, we've already done what we've done this week. We've already talked about the UI, which that will be in the edited version of our podcast. Speaking of podcast, finally got it up. iTunes was just having some big issues there, but the kind folks at Rivalcast Media were able to get that up for us, and we do have episode 1 on there. Just uploaded episode 2 today, so that should be within the interwebs within a couple days. It usually takes 3 to 4 days for iTunes to verify everything. So also, if you guys could hit that subscribe button on iTunes and give us some ratings, any ratings we do appreciate. Negative or positive is always appreciated. How can we improve the show? Well, that's up to you guys. Now, PvP.
You prefer positive.
Yes, PvP and the C.R.E.D system. Do you guys want to start with the fun topic or the non-fun topic first?
Well,
Let's
I
get
think
the
we should.
fun topic out of the way and talk about C.R.E.D.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not the fun topic. But
What are you talking about?
C.R.E.D is it's marketing.
it's marketing.
Economics, man.
I hate economics.
You know what? If it wasn't for your internet yesterday, you would have been there for the really entertaining conversation that the three of us had by ourselves
that
about
no one
C.R.E.D.
heard. Yeah, that
But
no
no
one
one
heard.
listened to us.
No one
In the
heard.
background,
Yeah.
we were also listening to C.R.E.D.
Yep. One Last Breath was playing nonstop
Oh my gosh.
I
That
was
was
playing Aspro on my Steam account.
with 2 hats on.
with 2 hats on, and that's what crashed the stream.
Yeah.
So much orange. I had to change today.
Yeah.
The only orange left is this. Kenny.
Well, you know what? Kenny might die sometime. You never know. You never
Take
know.
the stream with him.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. Just no.
Okay.
Someplace we can start there, though, is the kind of similarities it has with EVE Online and their
Yeah.
paid economy system.
Now, I know that Gary, you played EVE Online quite some time. So I think you're probably the most qualified to kind of explain how the system is going to work. And
That's a sentence you're going to be saying a lot during these streams.
ooh, shots fired.
Okay, so So I would say that there's a lot of similarities to it, but one of the things that I find really really different and changes the dichotomy of how it works in WildStar compared to how it works in Eve is Eve is a player-driven market.
Right.
So once you reach a certain point in the game, all of the higher level like ships, all of the higher level mods, all of the higher level things are player built and then priced and then influenced based on the amount of time, say like it is between shipping it from Jita to somewhere else, or like different aspects of that part of the game. Like because the game works on a one everybody's on one server basis.
Right.
That's not technically true, but we're gonna go with that so that it's understandable.
Okay.
But there's different hubs in the game, and one of the main ones, like the main selling hub for like purchasing stuff, is Jita. So it's this web or it's this like store, and you go there and you're like you can buy whatever you want because everybody sells their stuff in Jita. But if you're 60 sectors away and it's a 4-hour flight, I mean, you can charge a little bit different for those kind of things. So because of that, it changes the marketplace. So it changes the amount of ISK that anybody can individually have or obtain in the game and be able to spend on that. So that changes what the price of C.R.E.D. is, or I guess they use Plex is the name of it. So that changes what the price of Plex is, and because of that, Plex fluctuates in price pretty heavily depending on what the market is like. And I just I'm kind of confused at how they're going to incorporate that system in a game that has a marketplace that isn't player driven.
And multiple servers.
Yeah, and multiple servers, and I think that they're going to excuse me for a moment while I keep the cat.
Nice shirt, buddy. Oh, Kitty.
So
bad cat.
Yeah, just trying to take the power cords off.
No, let's not have that again.
So what was I talking about? I got a cat now.
You were talking about.
Meow.
No, so
we're gonna stay on topic. We're
tired. Did I tell you what how tired I was? Okay. Yes, Will. You're right. Topics.
You don't get to say you're tired.
So because of all of those things that are influencing WildStar that are developer driven,
right?
That influence the market, and it makes the auction house less mandatory as a place that you have to go. It also makes the auction house something that is it's there for people who want it. Like it's there for like the ability to do it, but it's not influencing the gameplay very much. Whereas the marketplace in Eve, you can't avoid it. Like you're gonna use it no matter what. Like it's going to
affect you.
It's like the economy that you have in the real world because you have to go to the store to buy milk. You have to go to the store to buy missiles because you have to go shoot them at other people.
Ammo. Yep.
So it because of that, I think that C.R.E.D.'s going to have a set price, and it's going to be set by Carbine, and that's going to be relative to their ideas of how the market is. But I don't think it's going to have the same kind of influence that it does on the game. What it's really just going to end up being is people are going to play a lot, and it's going to give them the ability to buy in-game gold without having to go through a gold seller.
Yeah.
So
that is like the main
here's
purpose
the
of
thing.
this, is to try and stem the gold seller tide.
Right.
His
Shriggs.
speculation is incorrect.
Okay.
I dug up an article from a few months ago with an interview of David Gaffney.
Yes.
Jeremy Gaffney. And he talks about the C.R.E.D. system, and he says it's going to be completely player-driven, and other than making sure no one exploits it, Carbine will not be touching it at all.
So, okay. So my question is how expensive do you think that this is going to be for in-game currency? I mean, we already know that the highest level of currency is going to be platinum or whatever the heck it's called.
Yep, one level higher than normal for most.
Yeah, so it's copper, silver, gold, platinum, which is what Guild Wars does, and a bunch of other.
Really? It's going to depend on what we, the players, decide it's going to be.
So, okay, my next question is, we'll start with Will. What do you think the cap should be on the price? I mean, this is a monthly subscription that they're paying for. So, do you think we're looking at 100,000 platinum, 1 million platinum? Like, how high is too high?
Well, obviously it's going to be very, very dependent on what people price it as and like value it as. But I think the easiest way to kind of like figure stuff like that out is to say to yourself, what would I spend this on? Like, what would I spend some in-game currency that I could buy on? For me, that'd be some housing stuff.
Right.
The some of the housing stuff was probably going to be fairly hard to get or expensive. So I would pay like $15 or $30 for like a couple things.
So just
oh my god.
Just doing a little bit of research here. It's about $12 for for 10,000 gold in World of Warcraft if you're gonna buy from a gold seller.
That's
so,
it.
Yeah.
$12.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Is the market inflated that much?
The currency is super inflated. WoW as a disclaimer.
Yeah. So
like,
what we have to really discuss is like whether or not the currency is going to get inflated really quickly. Now that happened in Guild Wars when Guild Wars first launched. Like it started off like it was like, oh, well, this is reasonable. I could buy gems for like blah blah blah, and then
I remember at launch,
even got free sometimes.
Yeah, it was actually a really good deal, and then all of a sudden the market went boom.
Yeah.
Personally, I got 2,000 gems for about 6 gold before hitting 80 when Guild Wars 2 launched.
Yeah.
Now 6 gold won't get you 10.
They were not prepared.
No, they weren't. Well,
I was prepared, and I made a lot of money off that.
You are not prepared. Yeah, it's something that is just always kind of the discussion of. I guess a lot of people that are like, okay, this is going to be a sub-based MMO, but it's going to be like EVE in the sense that
Eve.
Whatever.
What was that?
He said EVE.
Is that a thing?
Who says that?
I do. Let's just shut up. Be quiet. By the way, what does EVE stand for?
It's EVE Online.
It's just EVE Online.
No.
They have a horrible backstory that involves New
of course
Eden,
they do.
which is what the universe is called. So Eve is according to New Eden and stuff like that. It doesn't mean hardly anything.
It actually is the word eve, like evening or like on the eve of. It's
okay. So it's not like WoW.
New Eden.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the eve of New Eden, so it's just called Eve.
Because whenever
there's
I was
not much put into it.
I was like, what the heck does EVE stand for? Like, I don't understand. Like, I've never whatever. So,
EVE is a Pokemon.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite too.
I feel like you've never met Google. He's our lord and master.
Google, dude, I played EVE for about 5 minutes. Was like, yeah, I'm going back to WoW. Screw this game. Because I got into like the tutorial thing, and I was like, what the frack am I doing? It was, but that was back when the game was like, here you go, have fun. Now, apparently, there's a lot more tutorials and stuff to actually help you through the game, but that was years ago. So, I mean, like, in my circle of friends that I have here, a lot of them are, like, really concerned about this payment system because they're like, well, then players are going to get really rich off of this and all this other stuff. And I keep trying to tell them, well, if it's going to be community-driven and player-driven, I mean, obviously, Carbine has to watch it. They're not just going to go, whatever. It's 2 million platinum. That's fine. I mean, obviously, it has to be reasonable for players to play for free every month if they want to do it that way.
I don't actually think it's going to be a big deal.
No.
Well, one thing they said was that whenever you look for C.R.E.D., it'll always show whatever the very, very lowest price is for it.
Interesting.
So it's going to be Undercut City.
No, but back to my point before. EVE Online is an economy where it might be a big deal because if you're like trading a Plex for like 3 billion ISK, that 3 billion ISK can buy you, say, a Dreadnought, and that's a big deal, and that affects players, and that like. But at the end of the day, like, how much in-game like money goes towards items that hurt and or affect other players' gameplay? What, like PvP or like arenas or like what like there's gonna be the war fronts, and then there's gonna be PvP gear. So PvP gear and war fronts, and I mean people could buy their gear for that if they didn't want to, if that's the way. But they've still said in WildStar that they want the most, like, the best gear to be locked by instances, locked by like PvP rankings, and locked by things that you have to have skill to get anyway. So
Right.
I don't think buying gold is going to be a big deal. For the most part, it's going to. I wonder if it's going to trivialize housing. It's going to make it like, oh well, I might as well just buy this stuff instead of looking for it myself.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a really good point, but I don't think that that's going to be the case, because I think some of the rare items for your housing are probably going to be bind on pickup, which I think would be a smart idea to do, because then you can say, hey, look what I got in this really cool instance, or look what just randomly dropped. I got this really cool legendary, chew a bathtub or something. I mean, I think...
You never have too many plushies.
No, you can't. Or beer signs. Or I mean, just like some of the stuff that we've seen so far in the like on streams and on YouTube and just like housing stuff is so cool. You can get some really, really cool stuff in there. I mean, it's... I really don't think that's going to be a problem. I just don't. Shriggs, you think gold selling is going to be a problem?
Nope.
They
Simple
never
answer.
do.
Nice. No, that's okay. All right, so, I mean, I guess that's really all we can really talk about until we know more about the system. I mean, it's really just kind of, hey, this is the system we're using. It's going to be there at launch. Have fun with it. I don't think that we're going to really see any other discussion other than the what Game Breaker TV did with that interview about it, really, until launch. So let's move on to PvP. And I know, Will, you've been dying for this one, so it's okay.
Let it Brett.
What? No, I don't want to talk about PvP. We know nothing about it. Why would you talk about it?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can talk about the UI for the next 45 minutes.
Okay, go for it. Fall into my trap.
Yeah. All right. So PvP in this game, from what we've seen so far, has anything been released from the newer NDA lifted for the press? I don't think I've seen very many videos about it, because it's really just kind
1
of
to 15 PvP has been released.
Yeah, I know that, but did
Which
they?
means we know about all the core abilities.
Right.
And we know about all of the 15 battleground experience and the
Right.
battleground that comes, the 2 battlegrounds that are in fact out in the game.
1 to 29 has been released. NDA lifted.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, like, I haven't seen any videos for PvP.
No,
like,
I haven't
levels.
either. I tried checking out Zyback, but he made some video about him not wanting to do it because he doesn't want to burn out on the game.
Or something like that. So.
Ooh.
Oh well. Okay. So anyway, so from what we've seen so far, it looks like, and just like people that have actually been talking about it have been saying that the spell slinger is pretty broken, as well as the medic. Just due to the survivability of the medic, and the spell slinger is just like this mobile turret that's just like, I'm going to kill you in very, very short bursts. So, do you guys think the balance is going to be a problem at launch? We'll start with
huge problem.
We'll start with Will then, since apparently he can't wait.
It's my turn.
Okay.
Yep. No, it's gonna be an amazing problem, like kind of an experience breaking one, really. Like how they handle the balance in this game is going to pretty much determine if it succeeds in the market or not as a PvP venue. The WoW's balance, for example, was a really big topic for the entirety that WoW has been out.
What?
It's been
wait,
one of the.
WoW's PvP isn't balanced, Will? What are you talking about? This is news to me.
We're not getting into that. That's
Death
an
Knights!
entirely another-
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, I was a Death Knight, so it was fair to me.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's how Baz feels about games too.
Yeah, exactly.
If he gets to be the overpowered class, what are you talking about? This game's great.
On that note, the medic seems to be the Death Knight of this game so far. It seems to have a lot of life-stealy abilities, high mitigation for its DPS, decent DPS, and the ability to heal itself is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, also the medic has one of the few abilities that can restore shields as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anyone take full advantage of that yet, because obviously a lot of the streamers are just kind of, streaming to have fun and not really going like super hardcore into it. But like obviously there's no secret to, there's a bunch of different amp builders and talent builders out there already on foreign websites and whatnot. So like,
Yeah.
I know myself and Will have been like just theory crafting ridiculous amounts of time into like what kind of specs we want, and
For sure,
Well,
because we're
yeah.
big theory crafters.
What kind of specs have you gone over for the medic? Because I know medic's probably going to be your main class.
Well, like we've seen some funny ones like builds that have been main healer PvP builds, but have been focused on interrupt armor.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen some lifesteal builds, some DPS builds from Zyback that have been quite successful at low level. And the really big one that kind of stands out as like potential though seems to be Shield Surge, which is that heal ability that does in fact directly heal shields, not you.
Okay.
But it also does damage, which is very strange.
Well,
so
I
mean,
mean,
that's just weird.
It's weird, but you have to think that the medic is pretty much the druid. I mean, it's a super hybrid class.
I would argue it's more of a shaman, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It seems to be very like a shaman death knight, if such a thing exists.
Well, to be fair, the shaman was a pretty hybrid class in and of itself as well. I mean,
yeah,
like when the game launched, you could tank for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason that was broken because Blizzard's like, we can't have diversity in our classes. We don't want that. We're just gonna.
It's the offensive hybrid. That
Yeah.
It shouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, like as far as balance goes, I mean, obviously the game's still in beta. They're only still on their whatever winter patch they're on now. I don't remember what number they're on. And
maybe 3 or so.
I think 3. With the release of their Elder Game stuff that they announced and everything. So I think it's. I don't know. I'm not really worried because so far from what I've seen and what I've been talking to, with people that are on stream and that kind of stuff, have been the game does feel balanced, but the lower levels are not a good representation of that. I mean,
they're on winter beta patch 3.
Okay.
2 things we do know is that apparently recently the classes have all been they've been going over every class apparently recently, trying to like tune them. So they're all getting huge changes recently.
Okay.
And the most solid concrete evidence we have for anything was that Stalker live stream they did, where the lead class PvP girl came on and said, yeah, it's currently Spellslinger and then Stalker and then Warrior and Medic and Engineer is really far behind, as far as like who's in the lead for dueling specifically.
Which is funny because usually the Stalker or like the Assassin class is usually like the top of the top for like 1-versus-1 dueling, and
well,
go ahead.
It is though. See, that's the deal. It is the top. It's just that it has a hard counter apparently in Spellslinger at the moment. So, and Spellslinger is doing well against all the other classes as well.
Well, I mean that's a mage for you. Mages are usually pretty broken to begin with. When
yeah,
I mean like. If we look at
mages that can heal, oh my goodness!
Well, gosh, can you imagine if an ice mage could like just throw on Divine Shield or something back in World of Warcraft day? Oh wait, they could. It was called Ice Block. Never mind. I mean, it's it's just my mind is trained to go. Okay, don't ever trust anything you see at low levels in terms of balance because usually ranged classes have that advantage, have that superiority complex when it comes to 1 to 19, 1 to 25 usually is kind of where the tipping point starts to go because if we kind of take a look at how World of Warcraft progressed, I mean, you could have a level 19 Hunter Twink that was, for those of you who don't know, Twink was a level 19 character that you stopped leveling and maxed out and like all these weird enchantments and gear, and you could literally go 99 and 2 in a battleground and just wipe everybody over because you had that ranged ability and you could just shoot people from a distance. I mean, and then if we look at like something like the Spellslinger or the Esper, those two have incredible range, and from what I've seen so far, a lot of good CC. One of the Spellslinger's abilities does that like root ability, and I've seen it where like you literally just stand there and just go, help. I can't do anything. You just kind of stand there, and I think it was on Zyback's stream or video that I saw that. I don't exactly remember which one it was, but like those two classes having that range, having that incredible amount of crowd control, or just snares in general, I think is going to be really hard to balance as we get to the higher levels. Shriggs, what have you seen so far that worries you?
My big beef is how they are treating the engineer right now with the minus 50% speed while attacking.
70.
It's like 70. Jesus.
70%. It's the 70% speed, so it's minus 30%.
I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Like
Oh,
they
did
have
I,
that
like-
kind of.
Did I drop there?
Your
Yeah,
your webcam just turned off. You're still with us.
That is weird.
It is weird. Technology's a pain in the butt. That's all I can say about that. Okay, so
Like I get some.
yeah. So Shriggs, if you could repeat that one more time for me about the warrior.
Yeah, I get that some attacks need you to be standing still for them to charge or whatever.
Right.
But with the engineer as it is, every single attack you do while it casts is dropping your mobility down to 75 or 70% movement speed.
Now, have you seen that just with the super mega, RoboCop suit, or is it
No,
like,
it's just when you're normal attacking for
interesting?
every ability.
Now, okay, so as far as that goes, what have you theory crafted build wise to try and mitigate that? Like, have you seen any amps on any of the builders that might actually help with that, or?
There's nothing in there that increases your speed. There's of course the base amps that increase your sprint, and I think there's one that buffs movement speed when you're in your suit, and that's about it.
Okay.
Really nothing to increase your movement. And I get it, you're a tanky, so you're supposed to take a couple hits, but still it's kind of counterintuitive in this particular game.
Well, that actually brings up a really good point. It's like tanking. So, like in Star Wars: The Old Republic, or SWTOR, they had the ability that tanks actually had a defined role, and you could taunt players, and they would do less damage, and that kind of stuff, which is what the Stalker can do. I don't remember which one it was. I'd have to look at the build editor real quick. But one of the Stalker's abilities allows you to say, okay, I'm going to taunt this player, so all the damage coming except from X target does X amount of less damage. So maybe the engineer is more supposed to be focused on building a high PvP defense and just kind of focus on more of the characters around them rather than actually going on a rampaging killing spree, which is which is definitely different than Guild Wars 2's engineer, which is extremely overpowered and literally unkillable at this current point. I mean, it's nuts.
It's only unkillable if it's played by Shriggs.
That's true.
I don't know. I think the engineer has a decent amount of damage to kick behind it. From what I've been looking at and what I've been seeing, and the whole 70% speed is not as big a deal as as it seems to be. Like from watching it, the thing though that I think is a big deal is the innate. Looks like it doesn't matter. Like they pop that armor, and then in a PvP search situation, it just doesn't. Like I've seen stalkers just take them right down, and in 2 hits, it doesn't matter. So popping that innate's not going to save you, and that's the point of it. It's supposed to give you an extra 10 seconds or an extra 12 seconds or whatever to continue that fight or to do something about it. But when it's giving you an extra 3 seconds, it's not really helpful, and it's not it basically makes that the entire idea of the innate in a PvP situation useless. And I mean, a lot of the other classes have really good innates. Like the medic has one where you pop it and it refills their resource and either gives them a boon or 2 different types of boons, and that's that's pretty sweet.
When you've seen stalkers blow up these engineers in their innate, were they in their tank stance or DPS stance? Because that does affect what kind of suit you get.
I guess that's true. I mean, I'd have to go look it up again. I was just watching some streams, and I was just
if you're
trying to this is all low level too. We're talking level 15,
right?
So
Exactly.
It's a lot different.
It's
a lot different at max level. So, but
regardless, if you're not in your tank stance, you will be getting a suit that buffs your damage and not your defense.
What was that, Wave?
I'm sorry. I'm playing hardcore mode for the first time, and we just beat the Butcher.
Why are you playing a game while we're streaming?
Well, for one, it's I'm hardcore. For 2,
okay.
I thought the viewers would enjoy my reactions.
All right, well that's fair.
Because they're so
Wave,
I will find you.
So, Ordinianro asks who's playing the engineer, and that's going to be Shriggs. Shriggs is going to be our engineer class. Speaking of classes and whatnot, we are running a poll right now.
They're going well, thank you.
Yes. We are running a poll right now to decide what we are going to play as far as the faction, either Exile or Dominion. And right now the Exiles are winning. I know Thundaga is very, very upset about that because he won't be able to do his robot people. And
I love Makari.
you know what? Makari are pretty awesome, but you know I don't know. I'm
My
curious.
fallback's Arin right now.
Just go.
Anime.
There's
Go-
no
go
good
look
medics
at-
though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want
Well,
to be a Mordress.
I just want to say our listeners can choose Exiles if they don't like life that much.
That's very Dominion of you, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So go and vote in that poll. Share it with your friends. This is 100% community-driven decision here. So you basically decide what faction we're going to play. We haven't really decided if we're going to split up and just do one guild on one side, one guild on the other side. That might split up the community a little bit too much, but whatever.
I don't
So
think we should split everyone up.
no,
No, I don't think it's just splitting it.
Anyway.
That's a good way to get rid of a guild.
it is. Or you know what? We could always go into the Sunwell and fight Minron, or what the hell was his name? The giant purple guy that was just like that.
Are you sure you played WoW?
I did.
Maru? Was that his name? Maru?
Yeah, Maru, the guy that pretty much caused like
Okay.
3-4 guilds on my server to like say screw this game and quit.
One of the Nar, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just
Or
another.
we could just go straight to kill Jade and be bosses, you know.
I was
I
pretty
prefer
sure.
that.
I was pretty sure Maru is like a cat owned by a little Japanese girl that tries
That's
to get.
Maru.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Maru the cat.
That's what I.
M-
That's what I thought you said. I thought you were like Maru, and I'm like,
no,
It's
no,
Guru.
no. Anyway,
like, that's a fat cat.
it is a fat cat. Anyway, back to Wildstar and their PvP. So the engineer, Shriggs feels is not as powerful as some other classes, and that
Oh,
may be
wow.
true. Well, okay, like the whole mobility discussion is a huge deal, but I haven't seen the Esper suffer from that though. Even though they're not a very mobile class,
Yeah.
they're the standard mage kind of sit there.
Here's the thing with Engineer that I've seen. It's Engineer's fighting a dude in PvP. Dude runs away. Engineer gives up because,
It is very easy, it seems, to run away in this game. I mean,
Yes.
everybody has sprint. There are the only class that doesn't seem to have some kind of blink ability is, in fact, the engineer as well.
Yep. All they have is that pushback.
And
You
if
know-
I could be wrong from like
And it doesn't do
the
very much.
builders, the calculators I've seen, but their abilities seem kind of weird, to be honest, just in general.
Well,
Engineers?
again, I think that we have.
I like having rockets.
Yeah, I mean, rockets are cool, but I mean, I think that we haven't seen the full-fledged, I guess, usefulness
Potential.
of potential. Thank you, potential of the engineer class. Because I mean, we didn't see that in SWTOR either until like 6 months down the road when someone figured out, hey, if I build this way in PvP, I literally can keep my whole team alive in Hutball for 45 seconds or something silly like that. So I think that. I think the engineer needs to be
The
looked
Engineer
at.
does have a lot of group utility.
Yeah. I think the engineer needs to be looked at as that really, kind of clutch class. That's like everyone group around me, and I'll just kind of walk real slow, and you guys just kind of stay in my shield or
Get behind me.
yeah, get behind me type of thing. Kind of Rambo it up there, but just kind of stay there. And enemies are shooting at you in all directions. You're just like, I can't get hit by anything because apparently no one can aim. But now, as far as the Stalker is concerned, this actually sparked a huge thread on Wildstar Central, still going on. Is the Stalker overpowered? Is this class going to be super overpowered? Yes, I think it is. Like, people are already claiming this class is going to be OP, and the game hasn't even been released yet, and all we've seen is level 1 to 15. And so far, from what I've seen, the Stalker is very, very underpowered at level 1 to 15, mainly because he doesn't have all his utility skills that he needs to.
I think those utility skills though, like maybe 1 to 15, he's underpowered, but I think Stalker and Game is going to be one of the most powerful classes. Like the whole evasion tanking idea, the fact that they're displacing like space.
Mm-hmm.
So you hit a button and you're out of combat, then you hit another button, you're back in combat, but it's not like you're still there. So if somebody is, say, a warrior fighting a Stalker, game ruiner for the warrior. They're out of combat, and the stalker still has range stuff, and there's very little a warrior can do over that, and maybe unless they have leap and they're lucky.
Well, to be fair, if you remember the Frost versus Pappy duel, Pappy actually did a pretty good job against Stefan Frost as a warrior, and I think he fought him as a stalker at one point, if I remember correctly. I mean,
I don't know, man. All I remember is Frost just kicking the crap out of the guy.
Well,
I don't remember any kind of resistance from Pappy.
Well, he did okay in like the 2v2 in like the arena, but I think that he probably got carried a little bit there. But oh my gosh, Riggs got. That was creepy. Thank you for that. Okay, so I mean, like okay, so Tether. Tether is something that people have been talking about a lot, and I think that Tether is one of those unique game mechanics that I've seen work and not work. Like I've seen.
They took it from Awesome Knots.
Probably, and no, because the game's been in development for about like 8 some years, so they could have.
Release the character with Tether first.
Wait, Awesome Knots? What?
Oh my God, it's Tony Stark.
Who's Tony Stark? Where's Tony Stark? I have a lion. Does that count? Oh well. So the whole tether mechanic. Do you guys think that gives the stalker way too much advantage in terms of mobility dampening moves? Tyrims, let's start with you.
Well, I'm thinking it's because their mobility is going to be so high and they're so bursty that it's just going to make them OP. But I mean, like it really depends on the movement of the other classes. Like, really, how mobile is the Spellslinger? How mobile can the Esper be? Like, because they're at range. Like, can they fire off a spell and then get away, or is it like, is stealth too OP? Because they can stealth in combat too. Well, isn't there an amp that they were talking about that allows you to stay in stealth in combat? Frost said it in one of his streams.
No, you stay in stealth even if you've been hit.
Yeah, but from what I've heard from all the streamers, they like fixed it because it was like really bugged and incredibly overpowered. So, yeah.
Oh.
So apparently they fixed perma stealth way before the game was actually released. Unlike Guild Wars 2, that didn't actually do that for 6 months. But I think that we can safely say that the Stother. What the hell is Stother? The Stother.
The 7th class has been revealed.
I was hoping for pilot, but I'll take it.
The Stother. It's kind of a mix between a sloth and a fireman. I have no.
New race revealed, sloths.
Yeah, they just like are really slow. Anyway, so
no, I want a lop.
A lop? What's a lop?
Screw lops, chew all the way.
They're like these bunny things apparently. They're
like yeah. Okay, yeah. A lot of people have been talking about those. I think there was a thread on WildStar Central about like next race or DLC race or something. But I mean. So, the Stalker's, like, ability to go into stealth in combat, from what we've seen, if you get hit once, you get instantly popped out of stealth. So, it's not like you can go into stealth and just be like, okay, all these AoE effects are going on, and bam, I can't do anything. So, it's not going to be like World of Warcraft launch, where he's like, goes into stealth, cheap shots you, kills you a couple times, goes back into stealth, vanishes, and then starts bleeding you, the bleed wears off, then you get blinded for 10 seconds. This is before diminishing returns. He goes back into stealth, and he just rinse repeats until you're dead. I mean, I've killed people without all my armor and clothes on, so I mean, I don't think that we're going to see that. And I also think that the Stalker is going to be one of those classes that's going to be able to go into PvP as a quote-unquote tank, because a lot of their amps and a lot of their abilities are really interesting as far as damage mitigation and the way that it like redirects damage to just you. So if you taunt a player, that player will do damage to you, but he'll do less damage to everybody else. So if he's like, say, an arena, if he's like attacking your healer, and you use your taunt on him, he's going to do X amount of damage less to that healer for X amount of seconds. So I think that in combination with the engineer and all of his like support roles, I think that we're going to see some really cool combos in Arena. Which is another thing that we can talk about is, do you guys feel that Arena is going to make this game a lot more enjoyable as far as PvP is concerned? Because there's been a lot of complaints and a lot of people kind of going, PvP looks like really kind of like clustery, and like it looks like a light dubstep light show, which I don't think is going to be the case once you actually get in there and go, oh, okay, I actually understand this now. Thundaga, let's start with you.
What people say when they
Or
do
Shrigs.
PvP after a while, they get into the zone and they understand what all this stuff on the ground means.
Right.
It just takes practice.
Yeah. Anyway, Thundaga, since you were so rudely interrupted. Jeez.
Well, all I know is that the arena that they showed off in their dueling stream, not Stalker live stream, was sick as hell.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Like I like the fact that not only was their arena a little bit more dynamic than what we're used to in MMO arenas. Like there was a lot of walls or a lot of like low cover stuff, a lot of stuff you could probably double jump over, sprint past. But there's also the idea of like spawn lives.
I really like the spawn lives.
Like it's not just win the fight.
It's
win the fight consistently.
Yeah.
Which is much cooler when you have stuff like hybrid builds and PvP tanks and PvP healers. That's much more interesting.
Yeah.
You can't just all go into burst pyroblast build and then expect to win.
Or dual box shaman, and just go chain lightning lulls, okay, I win.
The burst specs are still going to be out there. They're still going to be a thing, but they're not going to be so ridiculous.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah, the whole lives thing like kind of takes me back to like the old arcade games where it was like you had like the old Street Fighter games where you could like tag team your friends in with like the amount of lives you have, and like the best pair fought like actually won. So I think that it's definitely gonna really kind of broaden the amount of I guess no like the amount of game modes that are actually being able to be allowed in the game, like in arenas themselves. Like with World of Warcraft, it's just okay. We have an arena. Whoever kills everybody first wins. In WildStar, we have whoever kills anybody X amount of times is going to win. So it's kind of like it's really inventive, and they're doing that with a lot of things, like adventures, the way questing works, the way the pass system. Like they're really kind of setting the bar of who is typing. I'm going to punch you. The typing immediately stops.
Well, Baz, personally, I think the PvP in this game won't be complete until we have 12 capture point maps.
I hate you, Gary.
What?
Yeah, we need 12 capture points map. We gotta follow Guild Wars 2 and their example.
Please. One thing we do know is that the devs are very careful about what they're saying about PvP. They're really almost afraid of what the community might think of PvP before people have gotten a chance to try it.
Yeah.
Which is why they've said that there's not going to be like open world PvP objectives at launch, and there's not going to be more than 2 battlegrounds.
But it kind of makes me hate people.
Well, I mean, they're playing it very safe. They're making sure the core of the game is good, and then in the following months, we'll probably see a lot of updates because it's not that hard for them to make this. They've already gone over that. Yes, like what was it, Kelvarath KV? They showcased that dungeon in their Stormtown video, and while they showcased it, they're like, here's how we make our assets for our levels and zones.
Yeah.
And this is why we can make them very quickly once the core game is done. And we're going to see that for PvP stuff, I guarantee, if people like it.
That brings up an excellent point. They're not going to have open world PvP objectives on launch. And I think that was a huge mistake for a lot of games, like Star Wars: Old Republic, like World of Warcraft in the Eastern and Western Plaguelands, and some of the other areas that you could like capture towers and stuff, because it became this like, okay, let's just zerg everywhere, and no one really does the objective the way it's supposed to be. So I think that what we're going to see, I mean, also we have war plots. I mean, did anyone mention war plots? I mean, that's going to be...
We can't mention them until they mention them, because they promised a month and a half ago, and we're still waiting.
War plots, please. Okay, so...
I feel like war plots are essentially just going to be like a mini raid against players.
And there's that's a problem.
There's gonna be AV that you can customize.
It's
gonna be great.
I don't think it's a problem so much as I want to see what the war plot actually does, because like I mean, it could be really gimmicky or it could be really cool, but I really don't think there's going to be an in between of that.
I don't think it's going to be gimmicky. I really don't. I don't think that Carbine is going to say, okay, here's war plots. They're kind of semi-finished. Have fun. I think they're
No,
gonna.
I don't think it's not going to be like. I don't think Carbine's going to feel like
Not
they're
about being
semi-finished,
but
but like
good.
yeah, I just mean like what's a plug? What does a plug do? Like what does having this castle here do? Is there siege equipment? Is that siege equipment going to be able to take it to that person's other war plot? Do you siege it, or is it just spells at the door to break in? Is it destructible environments? Does the environment crumble when you get in, or is it just kind of like not? Like I want to know all these kind of things, because a lot of that stuff adds and removes from your entertainment of that kind of an experience. So you have
yeah, I mean,
you have like ESO that's coming out, and they have destructible walls, catapults, and like all these kind of things, and people are pretty hyped about that kind of stuff. They had the same thing in Guild Wars, and I want to know, like, is that what they're kind of aiming for, or is it just like get a raid boss, put it in the middle of this castle, make sure nobody gets in?
You know, one thing we have to remember here, though, is that for the 40-man raid idea is still extremely controversial.
right.
So, however controversial that is, the idea of 40-man PvP is going to be even more so.
But
Yeah, but like Arathi Basin in WoW is like that's like you can always queue up for that.
Right.
It will always queue, and it'll always queue quickly. So like I don't think it's gonna be that controversial. I think it's gonna be
Artifact Valley.
yeah, that's it.
okay,
But this isn't Artifact Valley though. This
no,
is
it's not.
like a combination between raided battlegrounds, housing, and guild warfare. I mean, you don't just like queue up for this. No, you have to get a thing with a group who have already pre-made a thing, whatever like things those are in, and then fight them against your opponent's things. 40 on 40. The amount of organization required for that, like alone, is just like insane.
Right. So hold on. So first of all, new T-shirt idea. It's gonna say war plots. It's a thing within a thing within a thing. Shrigs, get on that. Second of all,
Got it.
As far as the way war plots are going to work, no one. All we can do right now is speculate. Now, Gary, to your point, you
That's
were.
all we ever do.
Oh, hold
This is
on.
the best part.
Hold on. Okay, so to your point, Gary, you said the ESO and Guild Wars 2 has this world versus world thing. Now, the problem with ESO's world versus world and Guild Wars 2 world versus world is siege equipment helps, but it literally is okay. Whoever can cram the most amount of players in this world versus world server wins. There's no objectives. There's no especially in Guild Wars 2. Now I haven't played a lot of ESO's world versus world, but it's literally almost identical. Like literally.
Maps are exactly the same.
Shut up. Let me talk. So
No.
So the way that Guild Wars 2 works is there's no objectives. There's no real point to really taking anything. You just kind of zerg around in like these little circles. And the way ESO did it is they literally have ripped Guild Wars 2 maps and objectives from their game, put it into ESO, and put it in Skyrim combat. It's literally the same thing, but in third-person view or first-person view.
Like I think the one thing that the one thing that ESO has done is they've made some slight improvements to the way that mechanic works.
Agreed.
And I think that their rollout of how they did Worldview World or whatever you want to call it is better. ESO made I think that the gameplay mechanics for like combat for Guild Wars comparatively is better, but like the way that the mechanics work for like getting your stuff, how you capture things, how you go in and do how you build things, how you get players to level, and how you enter that whole world is better in ESO. From everything I've seen about their Worldview World.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think because it's more of an engaging combat system. But I mean, as far as war plots are concerned, it's technically not world versus world. It's literally probably going to be guild versus guild or pug versus guild or whatever, because it's war plots. It's not from our understanding.
I'm curious if pug is going to be something that's possible with war plots, because like how do you build a war plot and how do you maintain it? Because you actually have to get plugs, put them on there, and those are going to cost gold, and that's going to have to be a saved thing. I bet you it's going to be guild versus guild, and
Probably.
that's the only way to do it. That's like. So I don't think pugging is going to be a thing.
Which is really funny. Go ahead.
Maybe once the game's more established, it'll be a thing, but definitely not on launch.
You know,
No.
it's really funny that WildStar is going to have Guild versus Guild, and Guild Wars 2 still does not have that.
Well, Guild is in the title of WildStar. It's just hidden.
Wild Guild Star?
Yeah, it's
You
right
said-
there.
Okay.
You look really
No,
hard.
no, see,
and
now,
believe
it's
there.
encoded. You see, each letter represents another letter in
okay.
Guild.
It's a whatever the heck those kind of codes are. I don't know. Just ask Nicolas Cage. He can decode it for us. It's okay. We'll all be okay. All right. So moving on from more plots, since we don't really know anything. Open world PvP. This is actually pretty new to MMOs this decade, because apparently everyone just kind of wussed out and was like, well, we don't want it to be too hard for players, so we're not going to have open PvP and everyone can just shake hands and sing Kumbaya. No, that was so boring, and just that makes the game, in my personal opinion, and I think we all can agree to this, is if I see an Exile or a Dominion, depending on what side I play, and I'm in a contestant zone, I want to kick the crap out of that person because they are in my personal questing bubble and they deserve to die. So
Unless they're 4
Yeah.
levels higher than you.
Yeah, but then they're like 10 levels higher than you.
I don't
and
care.
You're just
I don't care.
there getting your ass handed
Hey,
to you.
I don't
This is a
care.
game about skill, bro. I'll just dodge all your crap. What you got? What you got? Bring it on.
you know,
That's
I,
not a real situation though. Like that's
You're not a
actually
real
one of the-
situation.
shut up.
True.
Just shut up, the dog.
True. Okay, no, my point is like you have to cater a little bit to the environment. Like not everybody's
Right.
going to have that high skill cap, and those trolls and those people who are going to do that, they're like level 50 and they're going to roll into like a level 20 zone, the first contested zone on PvP servers, and like, man, I don't know. I'm going to
call
roll on a
your
PvP
bros.
server,
Then
but like
don't
isn't help.
roll on a PvP server. I
Ugh.
have said this hundreds and hundreds of times. For anyone who complains that they keep getting ganked, why the bloody crap did you roll on a player versus player open world server to begin with?
Yeah, you should have rolled in an RP PvP server.
No, you should roll on a PvE server where
what?
Just don't play the game. We don't want you.
no,
Because that way people are honorable.
No,
and they
no,
don't
no.
fight thank you so
No,
much.
they're
Unless they're evil.
Ah,
That's
you
like-
have
you can
still a
you have
character.
soiled my
If you-
honor. Aha.
If you're in an RP server, then you can beg.
So it's my honor.
Then you can.
Don't kill me.
Gosh.
No.
That'd be a
No.
great guild name. You soiled my honor.
Oh my gosh. It's something that has always bugged me about PvP servers. People are constantly complain about getting ganked, and it's just like, roll on a PvE server. Go away. Stop whining that you're terrible.
Yeah. There's only one kind of whining that is appropriate on a PvP server is, I'm getting killed. I want an army to get over here and help me murder this fool.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Baron's chat. It's freaking what the heck was a good PvP
yet.
contestants. And you know what? I don't think that's going to happen because so far the community of WildStar is awesome. Personally, I think it's an awesome community.
I think the community is there right now, but the trolls just haven't been let in yet.
Yeah, but
Like-
see, you also have to remember the trolls are going to have to decide: do I want to pay $15 a month for World of Warcraft, where I can roll Death Knights and just lulls everybody, or do I want to play a game like WildStar, where it actually takes a considerable amount of skill? Because I have seen threads and Reddit posts that saying WildStar is too hard. This game is going to be too hard for
Good.
me. It's just like I'm like.
I got Dark Souls 2 in 2 weeks, so when WildStar comes around, I'm going to be in the zone.
But Dark Souls is a very easy game.
Shut up, Wade. Shut up. Just be quiet.
It's one of the easiest games ever made.
It is.
Twin gargoyles.
There's no actual physical way to lose that game. How is that hard?
By the way, someone modded Dark Souls 1 to be harder.
2.
Sounds like fun.
Why? Why would you do?
Because we like that.
Why would you do that to yourself? Do you know how much? Did you know how much that game makes me rage? A
Yeah,
lot.
I would love to see a stream
It's
of
like
that.
I
like they take
actually
a
did a
club.
stream. Yeah. It's
Here.
just
Dark Souls is like having a club shoved up your butt, and then Dark Souls with the add-on is like having that same club, but now it has barbed wire around it.
And that's the mature filter.
Thank you, Shriggs. Well, he said "bud." He didn't say anything else, so I guess that's more of a visual.
Context, Baz. It's all about
It's
context.
context. Yeah.
Seriously, Baz, it's not about the curse word, it's about the image that you put in the other person's head.
Have you
I can
guys
make
not beat Dark Souls yet?
I have not
I-
beat Dark Souls.
I've
No.
actually never played it.
Why?
I feel for you
I
guys.
just don't own it, and all of the video stores that you could rent things from are all closed.
Well, go buy it. It's on You just
No,
got
go buy Dark Souls 2.
Go to Redbox or something. I don't know.
Why start when you're supposed to, and instead just jump in.
yeah,
It's
just
fine.
just jump in. It's
It
okay.
won't hurt.
It won't hurt much.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh, just a fair warning. When you play, watch out for boulders. That scared the crap out of me.
Where is there boulders in that game?
Oh yeah, you'll
In
find.
the very first level, like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, the first 2 minutes. Strix
Oh.
was like, "Hey, go this way." Wink, and I'm like,
Wow.
"Okay," and I get complete like
It's been so
He is
long.
blindsided by an Indiana Jones style boulder going downstairs.
I did not see it coming. I didn't. Okay, so
It's like,
we're
Wow.
yeah, another
That's
sidetrack
like
there.
that's not even like you did. That's not even through the tutorial.
Yep, I'm pretty bad at that game. That's why I can
he
only
didn't
play.
even have his weapon by that point.
Oh, dude, I will stream it sometime, and I will show you how terrible I am at that game.
Didn't you already stream it before?
I did. It's on my
Yeah,
Twitch
we'll just
channel
have to look
somewhere.
up the video.
All right.
It's great.
It is. Anyway, so world PvP. Do you guys think that this is going to be a turnoff for some people? Tyremus?
I mean, it always is. Yes.
Well, I mean,
don't know.
like,
I just like.
as far as like buying the game, at all.
I think because it's going to be zoned, it's not going to be a big deal, and I don't think it's going to make people not buy the game. I think that they've basically stated again and again, we're going to put it in. You can do it. There will be PvP servers, but they don't have any really objectives, and they don't want to do the objectives yet because they're just waiting to see where do people congregate.
Right.
So they want to know where to put the good PvP stuff so that people actually play where they want to play, which is fair. I think that's fair. I mean, if you're going to put a tower in the middle of nowhere and nobody wants to go there, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, I just I don't think that.
It's never been a huge deal. Like, I mean, like, world PvP means usually high capped levels running through lower level zones, ganking people. That's like 90% of what that means. Like, and then maybe at the end game you get some kind of cool world PvP stuff because people can't get higher than you because they're all level 50 or level 80 or.
What I'm looking forward to is the old times where you were saying, "Hey, I'm ganked," and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, 50 max levels would be like, "Cool, we're gonna return gank this person and then camp them for 45 minutes because they're a complete asshole."
I just don't think theme park style MMOs like this one's going to be is the avenue for that style of gameplay. I mean, people who play
completely.
that stuff they go to Eve or they go to Darkfall or there's something where they have like more control over that stuff or Arcage.
I would disagree completely because some of the best times I've had in World PvP is at the South Shore or the Hammer Mill, which was a very well known place of PvP origins, or just randomly throughout the world. I mean, I remember specifically this one rogue tried to gank me. He was 5 levels above me, and he had like his vanish and everything, and I was able to kill him because I was just a better player. So I think that as the game progresses and as the community progresses and as the server progresses as a whole, I think that World PvP will really become kind of a good kind of melting pot as far as just a competitive community overall.
I am your pessimist to your optimism.
That's fair.
Here's a bit of neutrality for both of you guys. The World PvP is what we like to call an emergent mechanic. It wasn't planned.
Right.
It doesn't, and good World PvP is also usually not planned. It
Correct.
usually happens quite randomly, and almost no game developer to date has correctly made a formula which can recreate that consistently.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm
because
sure that-
it is all random.
I'm sure those really bad situations where a 50 ganks a level 10 character over and over is going to happen in this game.
Right.
And I'm sure that some of those like evil, super even, just super close matches that you just barely won, or some guy that you ganked or ganked you that you survived. I'm sure that's going to happen too.
Yeah, another thing is the whole like community-driven World PvP battles that people have done in like World of Warcraft and Rift and stuff. Like there's videos at like the worst quality possible of 50 shamans versus 50 paladins running down a hill and fighting each other, and like that was cool because that was all server community based. I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to do that again because, like you said, Tandaga, the amount of randomness that World PvP brings is what makes it so spectacular in the first place. So I mean, like as far and it's always nice to know that they usually don't balance classes based on world PvP. So my stalker can gank 24/7, and I'm okay with that. And yes, I am one of those people that ganks people because if it's red, it's dead in my book. So that's how I roll. That is how I roll. Now, in terms of balance goes for the arenas, do you guys think that we're going to see like cookie cutter builds like RPM?
Yes.
Okay.
People are going to always try to cookie cutter, and people are always going to try and innovate against it.
Now, my question is do you think that Carbine will be like, yeah, we don't like that, we're going to change it? Unlike what Blizzard was like, whatever, sure, why not?
They've already been like that. That's why they've tried to
The question
include
is,
all these
can you change
hybridizations.
that?
Oh, yes, you definitely can. I mean,
It's a difficult question to answer, to be honest.
I missed the question, so I have no idea.
The question was, do you think that we're going to see cookie cutter arena comps in Carbine, in WildStar, like we did with the RPM combo in World of Warcraft, which was Rogue Mage Priest or Rogue Priest Mage?
It's gonna happen.
Now,
There's no matter how much you can tweak it with LAS, no matter how much you can because it's different with a raid situation where you can be like, oh well, we can make this boss complicated in such a way that you can't use that combo. That's not going to work. But when you're trying to balance classes, the problem happens is that when you balance them, there will always be an optimal set that will beat out. Like rock beats scissors.
Right. Well,
and beats rock.
And lava beats
It's gonna
everything
happen.
else. Yeah, I mean, and then Spock beats everything else. Yeah, I mean, okay. So as far as like the whole forcing the meta change, you can go Blizzard's way, which is not do anything, and it literally I think that is why Arena died in World of Warcraft as far as esports is concerned, because Blizzard really kind of took a hands-off approach to that, and they didn't change any of the classes based on the arena because they were too focused on the PvE side of things. And if we look at Guild Wars is trying to change things, but they either do it way too slowly and people just leave, or they have no freaking idea what they're doing and buff all the wrong things and make like classes that are already way broken even worse, and like just kind of make the meta worse. So I think Carbine's going to have to kind of stay in that fine line to really make sure that it doesn't become stagnant. It also doesn't become oversaturated. It's kind of like overstarching your clothes, really.
I want to see 3 heal hybrids DPS, like a Spellslinger, Esper, and Medic, versus the 3 tank hybrids, like DPS tank. I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yes.
It'll never. Yeah, I just want to see it happen.
Oh gosh, it'd
that
be like,
arena match will be going down.
It'd be like 2 Resto Druids dueling. You start Tuesday and you go till like 3 Tuesdays later, and they're still going at it. I mean, it's just, yeah. I think that. I really think that Carbine's going to have to really hammer down on the way that they balance PvE to the way that they balance PvP, because that's another huge thing in PvP, especially in PvP, that if they change something in one aspect of the game, it could completely revamp the way that they're going to play it in PvE. Example. Guild Wars 2 is riddled with this. They change one thing in PvE, one class is completely broken in PvP. They change something else in PvP, another class is completely useless in PvE. Or in World of Warcraft's case, they
say they were going to make Guild Wars 2 so that they could change stuff independent of PvP and PvE. That exact thing wouldn't happen.
They promised many things.
They promised a lot of things, and they're.
Well, no, that system was in there. They were doing that stuff.
Yeah, but see, they that's actually on their forums. Like they have a list that's literally like this big of changes that are different, quote unquote, different in PvE to it is PvP, and the changes are so minor that they literally don't have any effect on the game. So So I mean, like Blizzard was able to kind of do a pretty decent job in terms of class balance in not Wrath of the Lich King. That's kind of when it all fell apart. In vanilla, at like end of vanilla into like halfway through Burning Crusade, the balance was really, really good. All the classes were pretty decent. I think Hunters was like the lowest end of the DPS because of the rotation was just like really, really weird.
And they had mana then too.
Yeah, see, I liked the mana version of the hunter, but that's just me.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
See, I refused to play them until they had focus.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I see, that's just a personal preference, I think.
Yeah,
but I mean, as far as that is concerned, I think that we are really going to have to, I think. I don't want to say make Carbine understand that this is a very, very important and very, very, I guess, tottered subject that they're going to have to try and balance. But I think they can do it because, again, a lot of developers are from the Vanilla WoW and Burning Crusade era, and a lot of developers have worked on other projects that have had some decent decent development in terms of balance and everything. Shriggs, do you think that we're going to see a problem with this, or do you think that Carbine can hammer this out pretty well?
With balance? Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I think they have the potential to do some decent balance. Already from duels, we've seen people are pretty even, for the most part, if they play well.
Okay. In terms of decent, what do you mean by that?
Like, I think from all our developer duels we've seen, like in the live streams, whenever they put the classes against each other, usually it's either really close or could be better, but
Right.
they still do enough damage to say I wasn't completely useless in that fight.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that at all. Some of those matches were less than 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Were we
that's
watching
true.
the same matches?
Yeah, you're just wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're just
I'm sorry.
wrong. Tyremus, what are your thoughts on that?
I laughed when he said it. Like, no, no. Balancing is tough. Like, and the problem is you're gonna think of it from like a developer's perspective. You're gonna be like numbers, but the numbers don't always matter because in some instances you have because there's a skill curve to this, and then there's all these different things because you have to bank on the average skill curve based on the numbers to get each class to kind of like balance. And if you do something to like say the engineers, so say make them 80% speed instead of 70% speed, so you make it -20 instead of -30, and an extra 10% speeds them up a little bit, but now like the stalkers are always dying, so like that's.
Right.
That's the kind of thing, but then you turn around and the engineer still doesn't have any survivability and they're still having problem.
Right.
But now stalkers are still dying. You tried to fix a problem, you broke something else. And when you have, and it's one thing when you're trying to balance like 1-to-1 ratio. So you have like, okay, we're facing a medic and we want it to go against a stalker and it needs to be able to out heal and the other one needs to be able to out tank. So in some respects, and that you can balance that. But you throw one more class in the mix. Now you've got the rock paper scissors, and then we've got six classes, and then a minimum of 3 different styles of gameplay for each class. I don't know. I think it's going to be a nuts, and it's going to take months and months and months for them to even come close to balance. And even then, you're going to have the QQs and the wines all over everything.
My one plea to Carbine is please do not listen to all the noobs out there that are complaining constantly about X class being overpowered because they don't take the time to learn how to counter it and learn how to properly play. Please don't do that.
Listen to your top players.
No.
That also is a bad thing.
Please don't.
Because, example.
Oh, right. So they should go the arena route and shut out everybody.
No. Because it's a bad thing because the top players, quote unquote, are going to be the elitist players who think everyone else is beneath them and it has to be this way. And Guild Wars 2 tried to do it that way, and it did not work, and they lost a ton of audience in their PvP because it was catered to too high of a skill cap. So what they have to do is they have to balance between the best players and the casual players, bring them to kind of this even ground where everyone can play at the same level, but you definitely see the difference between a skilled player that's not typing while I'm talking and a other skilled player that is just a casual. So I think that Tyremus is right. It's going to be damn hard to balance this because of the amount of skill cap that is in this game. It's like I kind of take it back to what Dota was. Dota was this incredibly tense, or even StarCraft. StarCraft took probably a Brood War at least probably took at least 5 to 8 years to balance almost to the point of perfection. Like, that game is still considered to be one of the perfectly balanced RTS games in gaming history. StarCraft 2 doesn't even come close because there's new units, there's all the stop typing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, seriously, Gary, or Ty, whatever, I don't care.
Hey, dude,
It's starting to annoy me too.
I have my plans. I have like 20 minutes to get out of here. So
I know.
Okay.
We're wrapping things up. So I think that we're gonna see the amount of skill cap really just kind of start teetering to the point of middle ground. And I think once they can get that middle ground, they can tweak everything. But again, for those of us who are really, really excited for PvP and arenas and competitiveness, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait at least a year before this game really kicks off to any form of competitive. Don't push it. Do not try and push esports. I'm telling you that is a stupid idea. They tried it with Smite. They tried it with Dota. They tried it with a bunch of other games, and they literally have no one. It's the same people playing over and over and over. Now, Smite has finally picked up because it's been a year and a half, and they've kind of gotten their foot out of their butt. So it takes a while. So in turn...
I couldn't play Smite for 6 months because it would I couldn't get the stupid thing to install on my computer, and I'm in IT.
It had a lot of bugs, to be
Like,
honest.
It was a nuts. So I finally got it installed and I played it for a bit, and it was kind of cool. But I don't know.
It's fun. But yeah, it's gotten better.
It's a team to play with.
It's gotten better. Is my.
I would like to see that style of mechanic in something like WildStar. Like actually have a MOBA map and then play a MOBA style game in WildStar.
That'd be a cool Warplot variant as well.
Yes, it's funny that you mentioned that because we're going to be talking about adventures next week, and there is a MOBA style adventure that they mentioned in
they just
there.
Need to make that a map.
And yeah, I mean, and so next week we're gonna be talking about adventures and kind of how that pertains to how everything's gonna work. So we're gonna wrap up the show because Tyrus has to go and I have to go as well. So thank you once again to our sponsors. Oh my gosh, did Gary almost fall out of his chair? He did. So
Don't worry, people. I don't have to go. I'm just gonna go because they're going.
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
I have a gaming convention to get to.
Okay, we're just calm down. So, please check out our sponsors, rivalcastmedia.com and altgd.com. Very big thank you and shout out to you guys for sponsoring the show. We do appreciate it, as well as our Chewish Snacks, which I won't run the commercial because we're out of time today, but we guys. I do appreciate all the listeners and everything. Please follow us on the social networks. That's going to be at officially10 for it's a cute puppy for Twitter.
My family's new puppy.
And /officially10 for the Facebooks. Also, we do have a Reddit, but we don't really use it right now because the game is not launched. But if you guys could go and subscribe to the Reddit, that'd be awesome. Also, we do have our iTunes finally set up and going strong. So thank you so much for Shriggs, Thundaga, and Tyramus for being on the show here, as well as the puppy and the cat, and Will's hair, of course.
I have to go bring the dog downstairs.
Always a pleasure to have you guys here. And check out, make sure to check out us next week as well. We will be talking about adventures and whatnot. So see you guys.